G'day, folks. Welcome back to Mondays Down Under on the Talking Pools podcast. I'm Peter, joined by Shane over in New Zealand. G'day, Shane. How are you?
Living the dream, thank you, Peter. A little bit tired, but living the dream.
Yep. And Lee I don't know where you are, Lee. It seems to change from week to week.
I'm actually in a city town called Gympie.
Gympie.
Gympie. Yeah, what a great name for a place. But it's not far north of Brisbane, maybe a couple of hours north of Brisbane, just in from the Queensland coast. So, yeah, weather's not so great today, but we've been spoiled. We've been all the way up to Mission Beach, so far north Queensland. Didn't quite get to Cairns. I've done that the last couple of years. We've been there for work conferences and whatnot, so didn't quite bother going that far north. But we're actually on our way back to Brisbane because we're going back to another couple of weeks of work looking after another business. So, yeah, something to keep us busy, which will straight up into Splash, and we're all going to be busy there, aren't we?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
The name Gympie. That's the name that we use for, those miniature sledgehammers, the really small ones, the single-hand sledge, called a Gympie. I had a new guy on once. This has gone back a while. This is actually when I used to manufacture pools. I said, pass us a Gympie. And the look on his face was, Pete, what the hell are you asking for, man? So, but no,
we'll probably have the same look as well, actually.
I wouldn't have known what you were talking about either, Pete. So maybe it's a Western Australian thing.
I think it could actually be a word my old man made up for it. So he did that a lot, made up a lot of his own words.
Well, my dad always used to say, like, I have a gimpy leg, like my leg doesn't work properly, or my knee doesn't work properly. I've got a gimpy knee. So that's why I always thought gimpy sounded funny. But yeah.
It's one of those words that probably has no definition, but everyone has their own usage of it.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. Well, enjoy the sunshine.
Yes. And a bit of warmth, so it doesn't quite feel like winter here. So I'm very grateful for that. Instead of the normal sort of 7 to 10 degrees that we would get at home, or maybe if we were lucky, low teens. So t-shirts still, which is good.
Yeah, that's too cold for me. Our problem at the moment is rain, with rain delays, and customers. 99% of customers understand when you say, look, it's too wet to do this. Be it we've got electrics outside that we can't do, we can't glue pipe in the rain, or look, we can't even vacuum a pool because we can't see it with that much rain hitting. But there's a couple of customers who seem to think that we should have X-ray vision to the bottom of a pool and just keep going through whatever weather. But they're the ones you don't keep on as long-term customers.
Yes. Yep. That's probably an interesting topic, probably going away from what we're talking about. But what do you do with your team when it rains?
That's not even close to what we'd planned to talk about. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh.
Buffer Zone Systems are the pool and spa industry specialists with a complete range of software for pool shops, service companies and commercial aquatic facilities. With more features and integrations than any other pool industry software, you really need to reach out for a one-on-one demonstration. Contact Buffer Zone today.
Yesterday, I was on a job with one of my guys, and it was big infinity trough pool with spa and water features and all sorts of stuff. So normally I get 2 of us there just to knock it on the head quickly. And I looked over, you see the beautiful view of the river. It's an amazing view, hugely expensive property. And I saw this thick grey storm coming through. And I yelled out to him and said, hey, look that way. And he looked and he says, oh shit, and ran under cover. And had he not run under cover at that point, he would have got absolutely soaked. And he said, oh, we'll have to pack up and come back another day. So I looked at the Bureau of Meteorology, our local weather department in Australia, and saw the radar image. And all that happened there was, it was 2-3 minutes of bucketing rain. Then it was fine. Then it came through. So it is good to, when you have these problems, it's good to look at these resources. Same as lightning trackers. We all have lightning trackers on our phone because we want to know if there's lightning nearby, and we want good warning. So we actually monitor from 100 kilometers out. That's around about 60 miles. And we watch it, see if the storm comes in, and it just lets us know what to expect. So sometimes it's a matter of, find shelter from the rain for a few minutes. If it's very light rain, we can sometimes keep working through. It is good if you're doing equipment installations, because you don't want everything to get wet. Power tools, glue, pipe you're about to glue. I always carry a tarpaulin, just so I've got something to throw over it, and hopefully the wind doesn't come through in a gust and blow the tarpaulin down the street. So that's one thing. But there are some days where it's just too wet to work. We've lost Lee there. I don't know what's happened to Lee.
Is that enough?
Yep. Oh, she's coming back in. Here we go. But there are some times where it's just too damn wet to work. So I find that to be a good time to take care of things like any extra cleaning on the vehicles. We've always seemed to accumulate empty chemical containers and that on our vehicles, so it's a good chance to clean that. Get into the workshop. There's always organising stuff to do there. When you first set it up, it's nice and neat and clean, and we do regularly clean it and organise everything. But at the end of the day, there's stuff coming in, stuff going out, always something to do. Same as, if ever you speak to a farmer, they say, I've always got work to do in the shed. Good chance to do things like overhaul our service equipment. Whenever we do evac-to-waste, we use our own pumps. I know some people use the customer pumps for evac-to-waste jobs. I really don't like that, because if it damages their pump, we're going to have to fix it. So pulling them apart, overhauling, any repairs needed, especially because we do a lot of the concrete cleanups. Where a concrete has been round, you end up with these tiny little stones. They end up jammed in the impeller. So pull that apart, clean it out. We've got, probably a dozen or so service pumps. So it can easily take a couple of hours to sort those out.
Yeah.
Just general maintenance on other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We used to do the same. The other thing is, it's always a good time to do some training. So whether you, obviously, with rain, you can't sort of foresee when that's going to happen, unfortunately. So you can't book ahead with suppliers to actually do training on those wet days. But lots of them have great training videos on their portals these days. Now, most of the suppliers seem to have a ordering portal or ordering system online where you can log into their network and sign in as a dealer. And then you get access to training videos. And of course, IR Learning have short courses that your staff can do as well. So great time to upskill for those sort of things. And also even companies like Daisy Blankets, pool blankets, they have short videos online about how to measure for a pool blanket, how to fit or install a pool blanket and roller. There's always things that people can learn. So don't waste that downtime. Vehicles, of course, always need cleaning, as you mentioned. I don't think there's ever a vehicle that doesn't need cleaning. And of course, chemicals can cause corrosion and all sorts of things. So we want to make sure we keep on top of that. But it is an important, but also getting your staff involved in procedures and policies and things like that. And maybe doing a great one to do through winter is actually to do a work health and safety chat, talk, toolbox meeting, whatever you want to call it. Go through their PPE gear that they've got on their vehicles. Do they have spill kits? Making sure that they know how to use it, where to use it, and also that they've got their SDS sheets up to date. All of those sort of things that we just sort of take for granted that are there when we need them, but when we go to use them, maybe they're old, maybe they aren't, that maybe the SDS sheets are out of date. So important to keep on top of those things as well. So maybe create yourself a list over this winter period, and if there's things that you need to get on top of, jump on and do them. Pete, what do you?
No idea what that noise was in the background.
It's
No, I
our
don't know.
dog.
It's our
I'll
dog.
show. I'll show you. Come here. Come here. It's my little cavoodle. My puppy dog. She was desperate to get up on the couch in the van, so she was whimpering. She couldn't jump up because she's a bit chubby and she's a bit too well loved, and she knows I'm talking about her.
It's a little bit too close to home there, Lee. Thanks for that.
Oh well,
Yeah.
they say pets look like their owners, so maybe actually she does have curly, sort of strawberry blonde hair, so we're probably not too far apart.
Why do you think I want a schnauzer?
And I'm carrying a few more kilos than I should be too. So
That's why I want a schnauzer if we got a dog. It's the beard. It's got to look cool.
The beard.
I'm wondering if I buy a whippet, will I turn into one? Maybe I should try that. But anyway.
This is not dietary advice, people.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, back to
Okay.
something completely different.
Yes.
The other thing that's happened a few times over the years, quite a few times actually, is if you're in a similar area and you get held up by the rain or thunderstorms, as is often the case here, go grab a meal, build rapport with your team.
Yes,
That's a
absolutely.
fantastic chance to
Take them 10-pin bowling or something fun like that. So, or as Pete would do, down the pub.
Yep. Although we have an incredibly strict policy, if you're going to work, at work, not yet home from work, or for any reason driving a work vehicle, no alcohol. Absolutely none. Because on a hot day, you'll often get a customer say, "Oh, do you want a beer?" And no, I say no. And if they say, "Oh, why not? It'll be right," I just say, "Well, company policy. I don't let my
Yes.
staff have one, so therefore I can't have one myself."
No.
There's got to be that consistency. And it's got to be the same rule in that sort of thing for everyone across the board. Apart from that, it's never a good look if you rock up to the next customer with beer on your breath or something.
No, absolutely.
It's got to be professional, which kind of segues back to what we were going to be talking about.
Beautiful segue there, Pete.
Thank you. So the way we present our business, call it your brand, if you will. I've seen a lot of people talk about a brand as if that's the logo or something like that. No, the brand is everything that, I guess, systemizes or puts forth policies on how your business is experienced by everyone. And that's not only customers, but also suppliers, your staff, yourself.
Yep.
So
It's your business representation. So
100%.
like
To
you
everyone in
say,
every way.
it's how you present the business, but it's how staff represent the business, how your products that you sell represent your business. Are they a quality product or are they scrap product? Are your staff wearing neat, well-branded uniform, clean and tidy without chlorine stains on them? Highly unlikely, but we live in hope. But yeah, it's all about presentation, representation. It's how you make that customer feel when they think about your business. That is what your brand is. So really, really important. And I've noticed traveling around this wide brown land of ours, sometimes green in places, but often brown, that how a business's signage is hugely important.
Yeah.
Because often that is a big part of that customer's or potential customer's first impression. So whether it be as they're driving past your business or pulling up in your car park, or even that they're driving behind your service vehicle or that the service vehicle's pulling up in their front yard to do their first service. Your signage on the vehicles, on the front of your shop, out the front of your shop, is often the first thing that somebody will see of your business. And I'm noticing as I'm driving around some fantastic signage that really catches your eye. It's bright, it's clear, it's engaging. Sometimes it's got fun, quirky pictures of kids swimming in water. What's better? What says pool more than kids splashing in water? But then there's some that really make you go, why? Like, why aren't they doing something about it? It's old, it's faded, it's hard to read, it's cracked, it's peeling, it's broken. Like, we're talking some really sad signage here. But what does that tell the customer about the business? That's the thing.
Well, there's a classic example of that. There's someone, and he's got decent signs on his trailer now. But when I first saw his trailer, there was more rust than metal on it. No signage, but on the back he'd used an outline pen, like a Sharpie.
Oh no.
And really untidily wrote, I think it was pool care, and then a phone number.
Yeah.
And
that's on a budget.
Look, the guy was struggling. It really wasn't a budget when he started out, and I've got sympathy for him there.
Yeah.
But go get a bit of corflute made. Go get a laminated, print something, laminate it, stick it on there, just so it looks like you've taken some care.
You can actually get some really cheap magnets that just go on the door of your car or on your toolboxes, but they're not expensive. And look, for somebody who might have 30 years of experience, who knows a lot, and I was almost going to say knows everything then, but I pulled myself up, knows a lot, a very knowledgeable, great expert in their field, may drive a vehicle like that, but they're not hoping to gain business from it. So there's a difference. So that person might have all the experience in the world, but their advertising is actually going to come from word of mouth from their customers who know them, that recommend them. That's probably as much as their reference, like their business is going to come from, because definitely there ain't going to be anything coming from their signage.
Yeah.
And so I think that you've really got to take a look at your signage and say, what does my signage say about my business? How do my vehicles, how does the front of my shop, how does the signboard out the front of my shop reflect what I'm trying to deliver, the experience that I'm trying to deliver, or the feelings that I'm trying to evoke in my customers or my potential customers? Does it say these people know what they're doing, they're professional, I can trust them, they know pools? Or does it say, I don't care enough about my business to actually fix my signage or care about what people think about me because my signage is so bad? Like, is that a business that I would want to trust my pool with? If they can't look after their signage, if they can't look after their vehicles, if they can't look after their presentation, how could I expect them to look after my pool professionally?
Absolutely. And
I think it's the same for any business out there.
Completely.
Whichever business you go to, you know, one on one side of the road, one on another side of the road, exactly the same business. You know, whichever one's going to be appealing to the eye, you're more than likely going to go to that one.
Completely correct. And even like going one step further and you walk through the door, is the shop neat and well presented? Is it clean? Is there flies in the window? Are the plants dying? Things like that are actually really simple fixes. And winter is the right time to fix all these things, guys. You've got only a few weeks until we start hitting summer trade. Please take a look at your businesses with fresh eyes and really look at it critically and ask yourself, is this a business that I would trust my pool with? Is this a business that I would trust my family's pool enjoyment to? Is this a business that I would want to do business with? And if the answer is no, then do something about it.
Yeah. And
as simple as that.
That extends beyond just signage. You mentioned uniforms. I mean, for us, blue polo, all that the same, got the logo. You guys can see it on the screen at the moment under my branded blue jumper that I'm wearing.
Looking good.
Again, our raincoats, we have high visibility raincoats. They're bright orange. Again, got the branding on it. You look like you belong. You look like you're part of something.
Yes.
And yes, they do get dirty. And I mean, this shirt I've got at the moment's got something on it. I think it might be a bit of PVC cement that spilled on there. Such is life. It happens.
Yeah.
But when I go to something professional, like networking meetings, something like that, I have special polos and jumpers that are clean. I do not wear them out on the job, just so I present neat and clean, give a good first impression again.
Are you clean shaven by any chance then, Peter?
That would never happen. I do need a trip to the groomer, though. I do need a trip to the groomer. I'll look at that. You know, rather than wearing my black cargo pants, I wear black pants. What do you call them? Dress pants, trousers. I don't know. I don't know the word for used for those things around the world. And proper shoes, not the steel caps, because they get pretty beaten up. But it still looks the same at a glance, but it looks that bit more professional. But when you then rock up on somebody's job and they've seen you like that, you've already made the first impression. That you look familiar, you're recognizable, and that then just builds on that. The other thing, business cards. I've seen some great business cards. I've seen some shocking ones. I've seen people who don't have them at all. I think even though, yes, you can just, you know, tap your phone against someone else's phone these days and it transfers the details, it's good to have a card that shows the logo, what you do, clearly legible. People have then got it. Over here, it's a big thing to put a sticker with your details on the pipework of any pool you've serviced. Or if you've installed a piece of equipment, put your sticker on that piece of equipment. So if the customer's there, they can go see it. Right, I've got a problem. Let's call Pete. I actually have a QR code on mine.
I was going to say, that's the big tip I was going to say. Put a QR code on. I've got a QR code on the back of my business card that will take people straight to my business website. You can do the same with a sticker on a pipe or a pump, and it can actually take them to the booking a service page on your site. So you can actually really direct people to where you want them to go, whether it be a contact us page or whether it be booking a job page, whatever that might be. QR code are awesome, and everybody since COVID, everybody's QR savvy these days. Unless you're one of the few ones like my husband was and took photos of them initially.
Old school.
Yeah, well, the first time I ever saw a QR code, I thought, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people really got woken up to that with COVID, because every time you went into a building, you had to scan a bloody QR code. But the other thing, other stationery, I don't know if you guys have used with compliments slips.
Yes.
I haven't used them for a long time because these days everyone wants a text message. But you don't want to find a ratty old bit of paper in your truck and scribble out a note to them. No, you want it on something that says, oh, this is from the pool service company. They can see it. Again, same branding, consistency, same colors, logo, all of that, and a QR code so they can call you and, oh, I don't know what you mean. So things like that make a big difference as well.
Yep, completely. It's the little finishing touches that make all the difference. It gives the feeling of professionalism, and when people get that experience, then they won't go anywhere else. So complete the experience. It doesn't cost much to put these things in place. The things that we're talking about aren't expensive, and it's just a matter of modifying slightly what you do.
There's something equally expensive that's absolutely free of charge: the way you speak to people.
Absolutely, yes.
A number of times I hear people say, oh, the last guy, he just had a foul mouth. He just swear no end. Now, amongst ourselves, the language gets pretty colourful. But when we're in front of a customer, no, that's not on. And
Use your
one of
moment.
my guys, when he first started, let out a couple of words, and the customer was in shock. I looked at him, I said, I will never hear you say that again. Just no. Apologized profusely to the customer and said, well, it's still in training. And she understood, but both the couple understood. But things like that, explaining things clearly to people, learn how to explain things clearly as well. World of difference.
In terms that they can understand. And I think the thing is, like, as much as we say like these things aren't expensive, some of them aren't, like the stickers with QR codes and your logo on it and that sort of thing. And probably most of us have done pens or something like that over the years. But invest these little, even the little amounts that we pay for these things, they're an investment. They're an investment in your branding. They're an investment in the presentation of your business. So don't just think of them as wasting money. You're actually building the brand, and you're building the brand awareness of your business. And I was only talking to one of my clients the other day about vehicle sign writing. He's got 6 vehicles that have to be sign written. And I think it's an awesome opportunity, because that brand with 6 vehicles being out and about on a regular basis, all different suburbs on a one day, how much brand awareness that can with the right sign writing on it. But it has to be right sign writing. My husband had a huge Crafter Volkswagen van, like one of the big ones. And it used to cost us probably $3,000 to $4,000 to sign write. We only had to do it maybe every 4 years, because even sometimes you get a bit longer, but I never let ours get tatty, because obviously it's presentation. But it was a driving billboard. Like, if you get 4 years out of $4,000 worth of sign writing, and that's $1,000 a year, like, it's driving the streets every day and creating brand awareness, and it's huge. So it's worth every cent.
And a QR code on it.
And a QR code on it.
That's what you got, Peter, on your van, don't you?
Yeah, I've got
QR code on your
codes
van,
on vehicles. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time people are out walking and they'll just scan the QR code. I've seen them do it. They walk past the vehicle, scan the QR code, and off they go. Yeah. And then quite often I'll get a call from them afterwards. Some of them, some of them forget. But not everyone wants to interrupt their walk or whatever they're doing at the time to stop and make a phone call.
No, and and the thing is too, if it's a phone number and all they've got with them is their phone, what do? They put a note, like a note in their phone for that phone number. That's what they've got to do, which is actually cumbersome. You've got to open notes, type in the phone number, type who it's for, and then you've got to remember to go back and use that phone number. Whereas if you scan that code right then and there, you can bookmark the page. Done.
Yeah.
Easy.
Or just it's done in your pocket, and it automatically opens up when you unlock your phone again.
That's exactly it. Yep. You can even message it to yourself if you want to. Things like that. I've messaged things to myself. I message myself all the time, just so I know where I can find it.
That's a good reminder.
And we'll have to send Lisa messages so she feels like she's having attention.
No, then you're. Well, the good thing is, it's a message between myself and me. So it's like, if you sent me a message, Pete, and it was something that I needed to go back on, and you've sent me a dozen messages between now and then, I've got to weed through all those messages to go back to the one that I wanted. Whereas because I'm only sending myself useful things, then I know where I can find all my useful things. That's how I work anyway. Useful? No. But I have to weed through the crap to get to the good stuff, maybe.
True, there is that. Yeah.
Sorry, Pete, I didn't mean that.
No, you're right. All right. Very important stuff.
Yeah, so no, well, like I said,
so much here.
I am noticing this driving around. So I'm going through lots of towns as I'm driving up and down the East Coast. So signage is something I really notice. And me being a poolie, I can't help but notice a pool shop. I can't help but notice a pool vehicle. Like, I'll even look at something and go, is that a pool vehicle? Oh no, it's a pump
I do
irrigation
exactly
place.
the same thing on the road. Exactly the same. So,
Yeah. So I'm weird, I know, but yeah. So like, I'm noticing these things more and more. And yeah, there's some great ones out there. Don't get me wrong. Not everybody's doing badly in this area, but there's some businesses that could just do so much better. And I hope that they realize that sometimes we can be blind to our own business. We can actually walk past those flies on the windowsill, or that piece of paper dropped on the floor, and we don't do anything about it. We just keep walking past it.
Yeah.
And then we become completely oblivious to it. And so sometimes we really need to look at our businesses with fresh eyes. And winter, like I said, is a great time to do that. So yeah, maybe make a list of all the things that you would like to improve with your branding, all your touch points for your clients, as far as when they come into the shop, do they have a branded bottle? When they walk out the shop with a purchase, do they get a branded bag? So all, and hey, again, it doesn't need to cost much. I actually used paper bags, good quality paper bags, because obviously I weight tested them to carry a few chemicals in them. But all I used to do with my bags is I went and got a great big ink stamp made with our logo on it. And I used to just stamp the paper bags with blue ink rubber stamp with our logo on it. Something as simple as cheap as chips. I think that rubber stamp probably cost me like $25 and had lasted me nearly 20 years. Simple things like that can make all the difference. So it doesn't need to be big.
You can get the kids to do it, so you don't have to pay someone to do it.
Yes, my sons loved the 2 jobs on Saturday mornings were rubber stamping the bags and putting the stickers on the labels on the sample bottles. They were the 2 jobs that they had to do when they were little. Yeah, and actually that lends me back to our first bit about winter, about wet days, and that is make a list. If like, there's nothing worse than we get to a wet day and we go, oh shit, now what is it that we had to do? What was I going to get them to do the next wet weather day? And you've forgotten about it, whatever that might be that you were planning on them doing it. Or you've got your team standing around going, what are we going to do today? It's wet. Now, if you're anything like me, what used to happen was I was sitting at my desk. I had shit tons to do. And I could have quite easily have buried my head in my desk for a week and not come out. Like, and they're all standing around waiting for me to give them work. So what I did was I made a list of all the things that needed to be done on a wet day that they could do. And yes, it wasn't an infinite, like, it was a long list, and some of the things needed doing every time, other things didn't, but it was a list that they could work through without me having to hand hold them or spoon feed them work. It was just I suppose a reminder to them of what they could do in the weather. And I also had another sheet on a place on our whiteboard on our wall that was things to be done. And so when I would think of something that needed to be done that somebody else could do, because of course, as leaders in our business, it's important that we don't do everything ourselves, that we empower others to take on responsibility. So I would put things up on that list of things that needed to be done, whether that be in winter or whether it be on a wet weather day or whatever that might be. And so, yeah, it was a good thing to do, and just say, hey guys, pick something off the list. And yeah, so just a couple of tips there for wet weather days. But,
yeah.
So.
Mine's all paperwork as well, Lee. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, as leaders, we've always got paperwork to do.
It's endless.
Yes. And sometimes some of that paperwork can be shared if we put the right procedures in place, and that's a good thing too. Don't try and do everything yourself. Create procedures so that other people can do it for you. And then they've got tasks to do on wet weather days.
Like I'll probably be doing on Monday, because some of our suppliers are increasing prices this time of year. Change over financial year at the 1st of July. So going through, redoing all the pricing information. I still call them price lists. It's digital now, but
sometimes they don't bring it out though until like the 1st of August or 1st of September, like towards the closer to the season. And it is hard. Like I'd rather all suppliers go, well, wouldn't that be a perfect world? All suppliers increase their prices at the same time. So we could just
buy them all at once.
Yeah, just deal with them all at once. Instead of having to do more, like do this one this month and this one next week and this one next month. And it's like, oh, really? Yeah. I'd rather
We should keep an eye on that, actually, because probably about 80% of the brands over here come from Australia. So I'm expecting when your pricing is going to go up, then ours is going to go up over here. That's something to look out for, actually. I never realised that.
Have a look. And they used to use price books, some of the suppliers. Now it's all PDFs, or increasing number of suppliers are using online portals, which drive me up the wall, because they're generally designed to use on a PC or laptop. When you're out on the field, you've got your smartphone, and some of them just don't look good on that. It's hard to see, hard to read. So a couple of them, I just call them and say, oh, I need this item, what's the price? Oh, it's on the portal. So yeah, we'll make it so I can read it, and I'll look at the bloody portal. So they still haven't missed it, but anyway, I live in hope.
So suppliers out there listening to this, make your portals device friendly.
Yes. And that's another topic for
another day.
Another day. All right, folks, I'm off to go fix up an old secondhand spa that a customer of mine bought for himself. So that's just what I want to be doing, starting from 3:30 in the afternoon on a Friday. So you guys have a great night.
Good luck.
You guys have a great night. Everyone listening out there, you have a great night too. And a good week. Make lots of money. Any topic requests you have, please send them through to talkingpools@gmail.com, and we'll do our best to address them. But apart from that, once again, have a good one. Hooroo.
See you guys.